Hey, everybody. Welcome. Jimmy, today,
Hi.
exciting show.
Yes.
We have our interview with J.J. Carrell. Who is he? You might have seen him on Fox News. You might have seen him on Newsmax, on One America Voice. He's made the circuit. He is a United States Border Patrol, just recently retired senior agent. And anybody who knows anything about what's going on at the border and the crisis, 25 years he did this, folks, and just recently retired. He is here to tell us everything we don't know and things we've speculated about, but about his career, about what they've dealt with every day, and about who's coming into our nation and affecting every single one of us, whether you even know it or not. You know, whether you realize it or not, who's coming in. You got to stay tuned for that interview. Love this dude. I'm telling you.
Yep.
So that plus a little bit more we'll talk about here on what, Jim?
Two guys, one coup.
That it is.
Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of two average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
Good Sunday evening to you, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're hearing this on Tuesday, folks. It's the only show this week, obviously Thanksgiving week, and due to schedules this week, we are recording this a couple days earlier than we normally do.
So if something happens on Monday night, that's why we're not talking about
it. That's why we're here now.
If it happens tonight, go into
Monday and all that, and that's why we're not reporting on it, of course, obviously. But due to the schedules and Thanksgiving week, this is the one show this week. You got to stay tuned for that interview. I mean, honestly, Jim, we'll talk about it after everyone hears it, but man, I'm telling you, what a dude. That's a man's man.
This isn't somebody who visits the border.
No, this isn't.
And comes out and gives a speech about how they went down to the border and they don't think it's a problem, or they go down and the border's a mess, whatever, the left goes down, everything's fine. We're exaggerating. And the right go down there, the conservatives, and then it's horrible. It's horrible. No, this guy's actually been on there. This guy has fought it. This guy has seen it.
25 years.
And again, another individual that just scares the ever-living shit out of me.
I know, 25 years, a lot of administrations. There's only one, and he'll tell you who that is.
Yep.
Maybe you can take a guess.
Yep.
Where he felt they had their asses covered,
And he even said, Reagan didn't really.
Yep.
Didn't
he
really.
Said there's only one, and he'll talk about all that. And of course, Mayorkas. Boy, I'll tell you, he's got some interesting stuff about Mayorkas. You know who they didn't impeach, Jim? Remember? That guy, Secretary of Homeland Security. Okay.
We did find out today.
Yeah.
That Rosalind Carter died.
We did, yes.
Former
so condolences
First Lady.
to that family.
As bad as a president he was,
and he was terrible, but not the worst.
These two are great human beings. I mean, they're left crazy as hell. Right?
Oh, they are. And the policies were terrible, and they were weak. He was a weak president, but
they're good people.
They're good
tried
human
to,
beings.
At least from what we know. Right. There could be some other things, because, but I just wondered if maybe she had a clash with Hillary Clinton. That was my only question.
Well, at 94 or whatever, is she 94, 96? How old was she?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think you need to clash with much.
You cross with Hillary Clinton, you're going to end up in her backyard somewhere.
You can clash with the corner of your couch.
But anyway, that is a sad thing.
It is.
It was.
Condolences to the Carter family. Of course, obviously, we certainly lived through it. We were young. Obviously, we couldn't vote at the time, but we all remember the hostages
every day,
every day on
2,
the news,
day 300.
Yep, that's right. And so we all know that whole situation and his love affair with the Ayatollah, and that's obviously how we got in that situation. But condolences still to that.
So, still it is.
So First Lady,
we may not be this way if a certain individual passes away before
Maybe.
While we're still doing the show, we probably will not give condolences, but
Probably
we won't make jokes that day.
No. Maybe some congratulations to America.
Yeah. We'll just jokes. We have a 24-hour moratorium.
Yeah.
Then after that,
and the 24 hours is, it's not really in hours. It's just like next day. On that one.
Maybe not even that. We could change.
Maybe
it
not
that,
even that.
But here's the thing.
Maybe that morning. We better
be careful.
We better be. Jim, I want to talk about a couple things before you talk about something real quick. Just real quick.
No problem.
First of all, so since JJ Carrell is going to be on the show, interesting in what's happening tonight. So on Sunday night, as we told you, we're
Pay
recording
attention
this.
to that.
Yep. Trump returning to Texas border for immigration speech. So that falls right into it. Some of the things that we've heard that he's going to say, and again, if he said it, I apologize. But yeah. Anyways, you'll hear it then. But he says, on my first day back in the White House, I will terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration. I will stop the invasion on our southern border and begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. And I believe it. We need him or somebody that's going to do that back in office, right?
Yeah.
At this point. And after you listen to the interview with JJ, you'll want it even more.
I need to ask you a question, and it is, I don't know this, and maybe you don't either, and that's fine, because it's a tough question. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with the laws in place to vote, okay, now can a state, like, and I'm just going to throw this out there, let's say it's a swing state, like let's say Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
For right now, President Trump holds the lead. Anywhere 4-6, depending on where you look at. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When these illegals come in, how soon before it has to go to be voted on? And you get where I'm getting at. Where are the voter rules that allow? Because technically, by the federal government standpoint, they're not allowed to vote. You have to be a legal U.S. citizen.
Correct.
But we know states are trying to.
How's it even legal for them to?
Michigan's already trying to do it.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
So I just want to ask you, do you know how long before because that's what scares me.
I don't know
because now that he says this stuff, which he needs to say it, right? Because
to happen. Well, every candidate who's running for Republican.
You're here by breaking a law.
Yeah.
100%. And you broke a law. I love this country. So the first thing you do when you come into this country is break a law. That's
welcome to America.
And they have kids. Well, take the kids back with you.
Who cares?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then come back.
Exactly.
And the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry.
No, that's okay.
I was just wondering because it scares me. It really scares me.
Me too. I mean, because I don't know it either. I don't know the how long that is. But some of the things that he's going to say: restoring the travel ban on migrants from countries against American policies. These are common sense things, people.
You would think.
Finding, investigating, prosecuting, and deporting illegals. Common sense again. Defunding illegal aliens. The fact that you even have to say it out loud. Calling for death penalty for human traffickers. Bingo. Calling for the death penalty for drug traffickers. All for it. Ending birthright citizenship. Thank you. Again, simple stuff, right? Yeah. There's 4 more. Invoking the Alien Enemies Act to oust gang members, drug dealers, and known foreign sympathizers or operatives. Rashida Tlaib. Keeping Biden from unwinding or renegotiating U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal. Keeping America from inviting migration by stopping any form of amnesty to illegals and then finishing the border wall. JJ Carrell goes into a little bit about that as well. This is common sense stuff, people.
Okay,
that's how you protect the nation.
In a normal world, in a normal situation.
Yeah.
As you read each one of those, everybody would think there isn't already a law.
You didn't do that already? That's not happening? Well, it did. It did for about 4 years, and then it stopped. Roughly around 2020.
It is sad when you sit here and think, well, that's common sense.
Mm-hmm.
But is it really?
No. Yes. Yes, because it's on purpose. So it is common sense. Even they know.
There's somebody. I need to talk to somebody from that other side to explain why his ideas aren't a good idea.
Nobody will. Here, let's role play for a minute. You ask me as the flaming liberal.
Okay.
Go ahead. Ask me your question. You would ask a liberal.
So President Trump wants to immediately defund the illegals that were here under the Biden administration open border policy. So we want to defund that. Now, on your side, you want to defund the police. So don't you think it makes sense to defund people who aren't legally here in the first place, who are taking money from our American people?
You're racist.
You're a jerk.
You're racist. And a xenophobe, and a homophobe, and a transphobe, and a everything phobe. Okay. That's what you are.
I don't remember asking you a question about transgender, but that's okay.
But it doesn't matter. You're a transphobe. I can tell just by the way you asked the question. And I'm offended. And you have to leave. Argument over. That's all you get from
I'm going to go see a lawyer. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm going to see a lawyer. Yeah. Do you mind if I record you? Yeah, you look like the idiot. So.
Do you mind if I record you?
Yeah. Anyway, so that's happening. I'll get on here real quick. I just have one quick thing real quick. And then we're very familiar with the state of Oregon, Jim.
Sorry.
Aren't we? I mean, we are.
Yeah. I just laugh every time somebody says Oregon.
I know. Democrat congressional candidate in Oregon panics. So 41-year-old Courtney Casgrove, the Democrat congressional candidate running for a seat in Oregon's 1st district, was a dominatrix in her 20s and 30s. Casgrove worked as a dominatrix at a BDSM dungeon in Midtown Manhattan and charged clients $500 per hour.
Wait till you see the story I have.
Okay. It's not the same, is it? It's like... She panicked after videos of her working in a sex dungeon were posted to social media. Cosgrove told the New York Post she's began hyperventilating and crying after she was doxxed as a dominatrix. Well, let's go back a minute. It wasn't that long ago I just said she was a dominatrix who charged $500 per hour. So her being doxxed as a dominatrix, I should come as no surprise, I would think. Anyway, she also told the Post that she's using this as an opportunity to reclaim her sexuality by creating a Playboy profile and selling racy photos of herself for $150 a pop. Oregon, hey, listen, I am perfect.
86% of the vote.
Yep, you will win 80. Congratulations on your new position as a congressional
and
member.
Soon to be future Speaker of the House.
For future Speaker of the House, potential Vice President to Gavin Newsom.
That was going to give the chamber a whole different meaning, isn't it?
Oh, it sure is. Jim, personally, that's what you did in your 20s and 30s. I mean, so you did it. You know, so you did it. Don't bitch about when somebody finds out you did it and you're running for public office. It'd be like me finding out you were some sort of dominatrix or whatever they call guys that do it. I don't even know. Is it dominatrix? Same thing. It is. It's not a plural. Congratulations to Miss Universe, by the way, from Nicaragua, I believe. Or where? No, where? I can't remember.
It wasn't from Portugal or Netherlands.
It wasn't a trans. It was a biological woman, and I apologize for not knowing. But congratulations to Miss Universe for being a biological woman. Women, you've won again.
You kicked two men's ass.
You kicked two men's ass. So maybe men should compete in women's sports.
One was kind of hot, but it was...
Portugal. I mean, I think got duped a little bit, but you know. If you're into that thing, Jim, that's what I have before we get to the end. I got something else, but we don't need to talk about it.
This is hilarious as hell, dude.
Okay.
This person needs to take a trip to Rhodes College.
Okay. The dominatrix?
Yeah.
Rhodes College.
Yep. Because a Rhodes College chaplain
already
was I don't understand. I'm kind of insulted by this, but she wanted to hold a BDSM workshop.
The chaplain.
It's just when you started talking about that video.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
So,
how is
folks,
this possible?
Yes, this show is going.
Yeah.
But next, we are going to have a dominatrix on the show. We got to find one.
We gotta find it. Well,
we do.
I mean, how many are still? How many are in Congress
there's
now?
got to be a bunch of them. We need to interview that congresswoman.
I know.
Anyway, yeah, she's she's not bad looking either. Not bad looking.
Well, I didn't actually print the picture, but the congresswoman back in the 20s and 30s as a thought.
But now, Reverend, okay, because
that's her. That's their chaplain.
She's a Reverend. Beatrix Wheel, an ordained Presbyterian minister, has planned to host a local dominatrix to share wisdom on how to safely, sanely, and consensually learn about bondage, discipline, domination, sadism, submission, and misogynism.
These are
safely.
Can you safely bind and whip somebody? Is there a safe way to do that? Jim, tell me.
Remember, what was that comedian that had that when they were the asphyxiation and they said there was a safe word, and so he was choking her and she goes, nope, that's not it.
It's not the word.
Anyway, that's it. So this is no joke, guys. This is from Breitbart. Okay.
Where is Rhodes College? Do I not even know?
I do not know. And I probably should have looked at. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee. So, according to this BDSM 101 workshop, invitation obtained by the outlet, the event was supposed to take place on the campus borough hall, the report stated. Not surprisingly, once the school found out she was going to do this, they said no.
I'm surprised, honestly, these days. They said, I'm surprised.
But I want to go to her church. Just to see.
Probably donations are going up. That's for sure.
Anyway, so folks, that is Rhodes College in Memphis,
Rhodes College
Tennessee.
in Memphis. What did you go to study for? Well, how to safely whip and tie and bound and
look. We know this
serial
is
killer stuff, right?
Right?
That's what the serial killers do.
You know, there's
the BTK killer was very insane. This is what he did.
Okay, he took it a little bit too far.
Well, obviously, he didn't go to her class.
BDSM, that's bind, torture, kill. This is
bind,
BDSM.
Torture, kill.
This is what is BDSM stand?
Bondage and sadomasochism.
Discipline, sadomasochism,
bondage, discipline,
sadomasochism,
right? Maybe
something. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I don't know.
But so look, it's a fetish. You know, I do not. If somebody wants to do it, that's up to. It's not for me. It is not for me. I
don't want nipple clamps.
No,
I just don't.
No, that's not for me. But I don't begrudge anybody who wants to do that. However, it's just in a Presbyterian college.
Yeah, Presbyterian college.
I could see this at Purdue University, Michigan.
Purdue,
Michigan. I can see this stuff there because they have no morals. They're all idiots.
Oh, no, they don't.
So,
yeah, you're right.
But this is a Presbyterian school.
Yeah, this is
but
it's almost like if it was happening at Liberty University or something, right?
But I'm telling you right now, this is where the school screwed up.
Where?
You should have allowed it to happen.
And?
You know how many people would have paid to come?
The school would have lost a lot of revenue.
I bet you it would have been the most attended class
it would have been.
Ever.
Can you imagine even like what I would go for this reason. Please tell me how to safely whip somebody.
or how do you safely choke someone out?
Yeah. I mean, I understand you don't squeeze maybe. So you just hold your hand around there. But then again, what's the thrill of that?
So this was a BDSM right before JJ Carrell. Sorry, JJ.
Yeah, sorry, JJ. Yeah, it's terrible. Two dominatrix and a BDSM.
We had to bring it up because, guys, there's nothing going on in this world that's positive right now.
There's everything's. It's like opposite day every day,
and so we have to laugh and it's so we're gonna do stories like this. That's gonna make us. Now we did not talk before, so Dale got that story about his BDSM, and I got my.
It's
Completely.
like that's why he was laughing. I'm like, is it the same?
But-
Because I thought he was the same story.
But we're starting to be in each other's.
Oh,
heads.
this is frightening on
Yes,
many
it
levels,
is.
many levels, and we apologize to our wives ahead of time.
Exactly.
So, because this is getting scary,
'Cause
folks.
I'm going to a BDSM shop.
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, I need to know how to safely do it. I need to take that whip, crack it, and so it doesn't leave a mark and doesn't cause any pain.
But I want to wear the
Isn't
left.
that the whole point of BDM? Is to cause pain? So
Yeah.
how to safely do it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, if I was going to do something, I'd want to be the dominant one because they don't.
Well, I don't want none of
They
that.
inflict the pain.
Yeah, I don't want the other. Yeah, I can't do the other. No. I stub a toe. I'm not that guy.
I'm down for the day.
I am no JJ Carrell. I cannot take it. I'm not manly like that.
No.
So, folks, we're going to get right to it now.
Yep.
Again, our apologies to JJ. But you got to listen to this, and you've got to listen to him. His passion, his knowledge, his expertise, and his know of what is happening down there because he lived it every day is unbelievable.
Yep.
Listen to this interview, please. Jim and I'll be back to wrap it up. Hey, folks. Well, we got a treat for you today. We have with us JJ Carrell. Who is JJ? Well, he's a former frontline agent and senior leader in the U.S. Border Patrol. We've asked JJ to come on the podcast to discuss his experience at the southern border, his knowledge of it. And he's got a vast experience. We'll let him go into details about that. And how what's happening at the border is directly affecting each and every one of us, whether you know it or not. JJ, welcome to the show. Again, we are so happy to have you on. Tell us a little bit more about your background, if you don't mind. And let's get right into this border crisis that the mainstream media seems to want to ignore.
Okay.
Ken, welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me. I'm very passionate about this. I believe this is the number one threat facing our republic. It's not China. It's not Russia. It's intentional destruction of the American immigration system. And I believe totally in the deep of my soul, it's to fundamentally transform America. And those are not my words. Those are the words of the elites and the political class that's running America. A little bit about myself. I believe I'm an expert on this, and it gives me a unique perspective, if you will, because I was a frontline agent for a decade and a supervisor down on the Tijuana border in San Diego during the most violent times. I ran ATV units. It was myself. I ran a 10-unit ATV, extremely dangerous. We had an agent in Douglas, Arizona last night. It must have been foggy, and he ran his ATV into a telephone pole and died.
Ooh.
So this is, it was very dangerous. And imagine riding ATVs, chasing people around the border as people on the fence were throwing concrete and rebar at you, taking baling wire and connecting it to the border fence and making it really tight as you drive by to try to decapitate you. Every single day, if you can imagine going to work every day and knowing that you were going to get in a fist fight. You were going to fight somebody that day. So you get in your uniform, your jumpsuit, get on your ATV and drive out there, and your adrenaline was already at the top of where it was. And it lasted that way for 10-hour shift. So I did that in San Diego, and then I took a lateral transfer and I created, I was very proud of this unit. It's about a 60-man unit that combated all the human smuggling and narcotic traffic using the Pacific Ocean. They came in using these giant open bow fishing vessels, Mexican fishing vessels we call pangas. And at first they jammed them full of people, 35 people on a boat. They would land on shore and my unit would see them and arrest everybody. Sinaloa Cartel, El Chapo, Guzman, the notorious narco smuggler, they found out about these travel routes. Of course, they came in, they're violent, they took them over. So then we went almost overnight from catching human smugglers to narcotic smuggling. And we became great. Like, we were great at it. In fact, one of my guys went and testified against El Chapo Guzman to help secure his conviction. So I'm very proud of this unit. It was like one of its first of its kind, and that's rare in any industry, right? Especially in law enforcement. And it was interesting that I'd spread out. So we'd be from the northern part of San Diego to Santa Barbara, California. It's about 150, 170 miles of coastline, 60 guys. So you can imagine. So we were taking down narco loads of 5,000, 10,000 pounds. So you would have a boat, you'd have 3 boat captains, you would have 20 plus mules, because in California, it's not like Florida where you're from in Niceville and Destin, where you have the flat beach. California has, bluffs. So you actually have to carry 70, 90-pound bundle of narcotics up these trails into a box vehicle like a U-Haul Penske or an RV. So they would take 20 people from LA, low-level gang members, criminals, and they would bring them to the beach to be the mules. Well, it would just be me and 4 other Border Patrol agents. And we would take down 25, 30 guys by ourselves. And I look back on it, right? I look back on, because I was young. I was in my late 20s, early 30s as I was doing this. And I think about going to fight people every day on ATVs and going at 2 o'clock in the morning and taking down narco smugglers. I think back on it, my buddies and I talk about now, because we were so immersed in it, that it was just normal. Like, okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. We're going to go do this. Now I look back and I think that is insane. But I thrived in that environment. I loved it. I know that says I know it says a lot about me in a negative way too, right? I'm very aware. I'm self-aware that in order to be very good in law enforcement and to handle those stresses, there is a part of you that has to be a part of them. And I know it's hard to explain, but there is that fine line that you walk, because the people we are arresting on the border, when Trump came down the escalator and said, hey, with the Mexican rapists and murderers, and everybody went crazy, I was like, why is everybody going crazy? That's all I arrest every day. So that in order to, they being the criminals, only their currency is strength and violence. And how much of it can you put on another person? That's their currency. So I was very good at matching and going above their strength and violence. And I ran units. Then I took promotions into the interior stations in Temecula and Murrieta, which is about 45 miles from the border. It's all a lot of highway interdiction, narcotic, and human smuggling. And I ended my career as a deputy patrol agent in charge. And what that means is there's about 2,500 agents in San Diego sector, and I was in the top 30 within there, so I'm making decisions. So I can tell you policy, law, manpower, the implementation of the policies, and I can also tell you this is what's happening on the border. This is how the process is. This is how DHS through Mayorkas, who I believe, and I'll say it clearly in my book, I lay it out, and I don't hesitate. He is a traitor to America, and he needs to be tried. And when and if he is found guilty, then he needs to have the ultimate punishment that comes with treason.
Well, we had eight Republicans that voted against impeaching him. So that was.
I mean, did you see Darrell Issa? Did you see what he put out?
I saw he was one of them.
Well, this shows you the level of duplicity, the level of maliciousness, and the level of people. I believe our politicians they're just puppets, and people are pulling their strings. So,
of course,
this was a vote on November 13th. That was Monday night. Okay.
Yep.
So Monday night before the vote, I'm going to get this quote. Issa put out a tweet right before his vote, and this is what he said. This is a quote. I can't wait to testify at the Mayorkas impeachment. Worst Homeland Secretary ever.
Yep.
That's what he tweets. And then he votes no to impeach him.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So somebody had to have gotten to him or something. I mean,
when you think of this, when you look at that impeachment, you have Mayorkas, McClintock from California. You have Ben Crenshaw and 2 other congressmen from Texas. So you have 5 people that either voted to not impeach or just didn't. Ben Crenshaw didn't even show up to vote.
Didn't even show up to vote.
Correct. And their states are being decimated. And why I'm so passionate about these type of individuals that vote to hurt America, to hurt my guys. So when Donald Trump came out and said, I want to build this wall, remember? He said, I want 15 billion. He had to settle for 5 billion, and he had to rob the DOD to get it, right?
Yep, correct.
They sent hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, 7 trillion with a T, to Afghanistan, Iraq. And those bastards wouldn't give me the money to build a wall So now I have guys that got their heads caved in with rocks, guys that have broken bones. I have Border Patrol agents that killed themselves. We have a suicide epidemic. And why is that? Because the people that we swore an oath on the Bible to enforce the laws that you put on the books are stabbing us in the back. And that has a profound impact on law enforcement guys that are battling every day. And you take away all of our resources and you leave us sitting there naked. Could you imagine if I sent you down? Let me tell you something. The border is a war zone. If you think that it's just some la place, no, this is a different planet. And it is full of hopelessness, desperation, violence that you can't even fathom. The people that run it, the cartels and human smugglers, they're brutal. They're raping women and children. They're killing people. This is we are assisting, or actually we're facilitating the national suicide of America. And there's no way around it. And we'll get into the numbers, and they're staggering. The numbers are staggering.
Wow. Unbelievable. And now they're testifying as we're recording this today.
Yes.
They're questioning Ray and Mayorkas again about all of this. And it just goes on and on and on. And it's just, to me, a clown show. It makes me wonder, and I'll ask you, JJ, real quick. This is clearly by design, and we sit there, and Mayorkas is a buffoon. He is a traitor. He's treasonous. Everything he's done, he is also being directed by somebody, somebody higher. And whether you think that's Biden, or you think it's Obama still, or you think it's that administration, or hell, I don't know, the Illuminati. Doesn't matter to me. But they're all being directed by somebody, right? I can't even fathom, as an American, as a true American, that you could sit there and allow this to happen. I don't care who's directing me to do it. So what is the motive? Is it to get more voters? Is it to create the havoc, so there has to be some sort of maybe martial law installed, so therefore a president remains in office? I mean, there's all sorts of things that go through my head thinking about why this is being done. Maybe you give us your thoughts on it.
I have a very strong opinion on this, and I write it in my book. And I believe on the base level in America, it's about getting votes for the Democrats, because the ultimate game of this is amnesty. So if Biden or whoever else runs and wins, you will see amnesty within the first year. It'll be about 40, 50 million people receive amnesty in America.
Unreal.
Okay? There is also a point on the Republican side, and it's a uniparty issue on this. Republicans want cheap labor, and I'll give you one example, and then I want to get to the real reason. I'll give you an example of how they're manipulating policy. So there's visas called H-2B visas. Those are agriculture visas to go work in the onion, Vidalia onion fields in Georgia, cotton fields in Mississippi, etc. Avocado. We give 65,000 a year of those visas every year. On Friday afternoon on November 3rd, that's last 2 Fridays ago, Mayorkas just pencil whipped and doubled it to 66,000 on top of the 65,000. So what you did is you gave big agriculture labor, and that labor cost just decreased. So you can imagine, if I can decrease labor costs by $3 an hour per my employee, I made tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's the behind the scenes why. Now, I believe this is a global reset, and I'm using words that are not mine. These are words from the elites. And if you look across Western Europe and the Western nations, everything that's happening in America has already happened there. They've already had their mass migration. Now they're going through the change, meaning they're physically changing demographically and violence, and they don't know how to control it because they've allowed millions of people in. I know they have less population than us per nation, but the percentages are fairly similar.
Right.
I believe that we are seeing a complete global reset, and I believe the people that are running America now are anti-American. They hate America. They believe that America is great. Her greatness and everything that comes with being great is ill-gotten gains through slavery, colonialism. These are not my words. You just listen to them, what they say. They want a demographic shift. Now, this is where things get crazy because everybody's going to go, JJ, you're a big white guy and you grew up in the South and you're a xenophobe. Okay, number one, I'm not even going down that road because I'm not a racist. But to understand their ignorance is there's 195 nations that occupy planet Earth. Border Patrol has arrested 180 nationals from 195 nations. This has nothing to do with race or ethnicity.
Yeah.
What this is, and it finally my true belief is you are seeing a change, a shift in demographics, not racially, but a demographic shift from citizens to non-citizens. And let me give you an example. These numbers are not even disputed, okay, as far as how low they are. Their Center for Immigration, CIS, Center in Immigration Services, CIS.org, is an incredible organization that's been documenting this forever. They don't even talk about it. And it's two things I want to finally answer your question. They claim, and it not even disputed, 50 million people in America are foreign-born nationals. 50 million plus, okay? So that comes to about 1 in 6, 1 in 6.5 people living in America are not Americans, okay?
Wow.
We believe MIT and Yale did a study in 2018, 2019, and they did an algorithm, and they pulled data from all these sources, and they found that the median, they ran this algorithm a million times. Wow. And they said the high end, this is before Biden came in, that they said the median every time it came out was 22 million illegal aliens in our nation. 22 million.
Every time.
So now that's the new number they're using is 22 million. Since Biden's come in office, he has, through all of them, we'll just use their data, DHS data, which I believe is grossly inaccurate. They're let in 10 million. Now we're at 32 million. I believe that number is actually another 10 million. We're really at around 40 million illegal aliens in our country. 40 million. So you're seeing a demographic, a shift from citizens to non-citizens, because non-citizens, number one, the vast majority of them are illiterate in their own language. This has been proven. 8th grade education, no skills. They're completely and utterly dependent on federal services to survive, not to thrive, but to survive. So what's easier, to take your and my gun in the Second Amendment, because I know the Bill of Rights, I know the Constitution, I know law, I can fight you, or some peasant from Ghana that just is like, please give me some rice and a place to sleep. I need to survive. That is what's happening right now. And you are right. This has been planned. This is strategic. I will say this about Mayorkas, and I wrote a whole chapter on him because he is the tip of the spear. People look at him. He's about 5 foot nothing. He's meek. He has skin problems on his head. He talks meek, but he's not. He is an extremely intelligent man. Do you know that he is a naturalized citizen from communist Cuba? That should scare you right away. That's in charge and doing everything he's doing.
Right.
He immigrated here with his family. You didn't know that?
I did not.
Okay, before I get in, I say this, and it's controversial, I understand, but I don't really give a crap if you really I don't care. I'm so tired of men being impotent and weak and not saying the truth. This is why we're here. So let's speak the truth. If I would have told you 3 years ago, everything that's happening on the border now has never happened. Don't think that this has been going on for 3 decades. This is 35 months since Biden took office, and we can talk about that. But if I told you 36 months ago, hey, I'm going to bring a guy in to run DHS that came from a communist nation, his family came from a communist nation, and everything he's done or is going to do in 35 months, he's going to systematically break down and destroy the immigration system, and he's going to allow in, per DHS numbers, 11 million people into America. You would go, that guy's a traitor, right? You would say, well, that guy's a traitor. Well, I'm telling you, I just described to you Mayorkas, and no one says a damn thing. Now, let me go back and just say why this is important about Mayorkas. Mayorkas, highly intelligent man. He was the youngest U.S. attorney in the history of America. U.S. attorney, okay? 12 years he did that. He didn't fall out of a sky. He's been doing this for over a decade. Obama picked him to be the director of USCIS. This is a major component within DHS that handles work authorizations. I mean, belly of the beast kind of stuff. Then becomes the deputy secretary under Obama, and then becomes the secretary under Biden. Now, if we go all the way back to his first time being the director, this is the man that created DACA. He implemented and facilitated. So everything that we are witnessing today, this man created. And people don't know that. He created, implemented, and facilitated everything you're seeing today.
Unbelievable.
It's funny because we talk. This isn't my question. It'll come up, but the statement is, every president has incompetence in their cabinet, right? Not all the cabinet members are great. This particular presidency just seems to have, where did they come from? Why did they come in? And so Mayorkas is one of those that really hits. But my question is for you, and you can respond to that, my statement there about this cabinet. But okay, so we see these, they get press time, right? AOC goes down to the border, all these different politicians, whether you're Democrat or Republican, they go down to the border because they want to be seen at the border. They want to be seen strong, whichever side you fall on, Yeah. So from your experience, okay, one, it's got to be annoying as hell for having all these politicians and people coming down. But have you met, and you don't have to say who they are, but have you ever met a politician that truly means what they say about coming down, seeing what's going on at the border, not staying 50 miles away and saying, "Oh, look, this isn't bad." Are there better than other candidate or politicians out there that really do support you? And thank you for your service, by the way, you and your fellow border patrols, because it's tough work. Are there any politicians that you can honestly say, again, you don't have to say them, that, thank you, that's you're going to help?
I have never met one. The only man that ever made a difference is President Trump. You don't have to like him. I'll be very transparent. I'm a conservative. I just believe in America. I vote Republican because I have to, because there's nothing else.
Yeah.
For 24 years, I was in the Border Patrol. 24 years. My last year was under Joe Biden. Only been retired for 2 years, so I'm in the game, right? I have all my sources and colleagues continually feeding me stuff. So 23 years. For 23 years, I was losing. I lost. I had Republican president. I had Democrat presidents, and we were being abused, meaning we were utilized for political gains. Yeah. The only man that changed it was President Trump. That's it. I went from a continual losing team to winning the Super Bowl. Let me try to explain to you how insane this moment is. Like when I have these interviews and I talk about my book and I talk about my career, how insane this is, that if President Trump did not have the election stolen, I'll say that outright, did not have it stolen.
Perfect.
We were within,
why we're banned off YouTube.
We were within 6 to 9 months to having the border completely secure.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe because Joe Biden has arrested and released 8.1 million in 35 months. Let me give you an example. Let me tell you what Trump did, and I'll give you an example data-wise. I'm very data-driven on this.
Okay.
So they say, well, what did Trump? He built a wall. That's not. Well, a wall is huge. So he built a wall that is only 25% complete. Think of this, 25% complete. He went down to the Northern Triangle nations of Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. Excuse me, it just slipped my mind. Those 4 nations. And he said, you will stand up your military. If you remember, prior to the end of his term, there was giant caravans, 100,000 people coming.
Yes.
So he said, you will stand down all these people with your military or border patrol, or I'm going to take all your money. And they were so used to dealing with Obama, who's corrupt, Bush, the other Bush, Reagan, who was weak on this. They went, go pound sand. And I remember this. I lived it. And Trump said, in one day, he pulled all their federal aid. And those cesspool nations need us to survive. And guess what they did? They all have Border Patrol and military, and they stopped it.
Yep.
And what does that look like? So every day I came into work, 5 o'clock in the morning, get my 24-hour daily report. I would take it to my boss. We would discuss it, how we're going to, what's the strategy for the day with all of our watch commanders. I would get daily reports that we would arrest 150 to 450 people in 24 hours across America. That's nothing. Yeah. That's like, that's nothing. And everybody we arrested, there was a consequence, meaning they either got sent back to their country voluntarily or we deported them. No one, and let me explain, let me make sure everybody understands this. And I interviewed on my podcast a mentor of mine. I arrested minimum 10,000 people, directly and indirectly. And I believe it's more, but let's just say this. Mm-hmm. In 23 years prior to Obama, 23 years, I released zero on the street. My mentor, he arrested, and I know this because I know he was in the Border Patrol prior to me, and I understand the data. He arrested over 100,000 people. If you can even get your brain wrapped around that.
Yeah, I know.
He said, I released 3 people. 3.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. And it was very, very like crazy circumstances.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fast forward to today, fast forward to the day Biden took office, we went from 150 to 450 people being arrested to over 5,000.
Yeah.
Now we're at 11,000 a day. A day. Can you even wrap your brain around that?
No.
At the end of Trump's term, we were arresting 17,000 people a month. That sounds like a lot, right? But break it down. Per day, it's like 560 people.
Yeah.
The October numbers just came out we always are like a month behind. October numbers came out.
Yeah.
309,000 people were arrested. 309,000. Do you know how many are released? Almost 309,000.
I was going to say the majority. I would have to guess the majority of that.
It's not. It's like 98, 99%.
10 years for your court date, right?
Well, that's a great point. Let me try. If you give me 1 minute to just kind of articulate how this all wraps into one thing.
Oh, you got.
Yes, we talked about voting, right? So now we have major cities in America and states that have allowed or have legislation in process to allow illegal aliens to vote in their state and local elections.
Yep.
Let's look at from an agricultural service industry, big corporation, Chamber of Commerce, Better Business Bureau mindset, because that's what runs the Republican Party. Yep. Imagine how immoral our government, not our nation, our government is. So I cross the border. I'm a Haitian man and my wife and my 2 kids. I come in, I get processed rapidly, and then I get released to the street. I tell the Border Patrol agent, I'm going to go to New York City. Okay. I give them a notice to appear called NTA. And on the notice to appear, it will tell me the time and date and where I'm supposed to appear before an immigration judge or an ICE officer. I either do not give that individual an NTA or ICE will mail them one to their fictitious address. Yeah. Now, let's say that I'm an honest man and I'm like, I want to go see the judge. Guess when I can see the judge in New York City? 2032.
Yeah.
2032. Now, this is where it gets immoral, and I want you to wrap your brain around this, because this Haitian man represents 10, 15, 20 million people, okay? Mm-hmm. As a Border Patrol agent or an ICE officer that is releasing them we honestly literally release them on the streets of America and say, bye. Or at an airport, and we pay for their tickets, okay?
Sure.
There's one thing I don't give this man and his family, and it's a very important document I do not give them. It's called a work authorization document. I do not give it to them. And I parole them into America for 60 days. And when they can't see a judge or an ICE officer in 60 days, they become out of status. And what out of status means is they become illegal alien. Mm-hmm. So now I got an illegal alien that can't work, times millions. Now I created the slave class of labor in America that's going to work for, the Democrats are screaming $15 an hour. I just laugh at them. I go, are you insane? The guy washing your dishes is making $6.50 an hour. They don't have to pay their Social Security. They don't have to pay their workers' comp, nothing. So you have just driven down the wage of Americans by millions. But we welcomed them into our country, guys. Biden said, come in, we will take you.
Oh, yeah.
We have room for 10 million, he said.
Yeah.
But we bring them in, and then let's go back to what we talked about right at the beginning. This is a global reset. So you're seeing it in France in the summer. France was burning to the ground. They burnt basically their equivalent to the Library of Congress. They were housing books from 1100 AD. They burnt it to the ground.
Yep.
What you're seeing is a vast majority of everyone we're arresting are military-age single adult males. So when single adult males are hungry, tired, dirty, hopeless, angry, resentful, they're going to lash out. And they're not going to decide, oh, JJ's a conservative, I'll leave him alone. It was those crazy liberals. No, they're going to see that guy's got a house. I'm going to rape and pillage his house. And it's happening. And America needs to wake up. You have New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Phoenix, Austin, L.A., San Francisco. I can go on and on. The whole state of Massachusetts has declared states of emergencies. If you think that you're okay in Niceville or you're okay in Indiana, I'm mistaken. I'll give you a great example of Indiana. This was 4 months ago, even less. Sinaloa Cartel, 19 members arrested in Indiana for a giant fentanyl ring. You didn't hear about it, did you? Because they squashed it. No. 19 Sinaloa Cartel members were arrested in Indiana on a major fentanyl ring. Fentanyl will kill you. You and I, we've been talking for 35 minutes. I want your audience to understand how this is going to touch you personally. We have been on this for 35 minutes, and we have focused on people crossing the border. This is not a knock on you. I'm just saying how big this is. A knock on our conversation is so big. You and I haven't even talked about the special interest aliens by the hundreds of thousands. We haven't talked about thousands of terrorists coming our nation. We haven't talked about 500,000 unaccompanied children that came across our border and now have been sex slaves. We are facilitating the largest child sex trafficking in modern history. We're not even talking. We just talked for the moment about fentanyl. We're not even talking about the tons, like hundreds and thousands of tons of hard narco pouring into our nation. We haven't even talked about that. You think about how big this is. This is going to touch you, America.
Terrorism, fentanyl, and sex trade is our questions we wanted to ask you, and we can get to that as we go. But real quick, JJ, tell us real quick about your book, and we'll get it at the end as well. But tell us about the book so our listeners can hear it and possibly get out and get it.
My book is called Invaded, The Intentional Destruction of the American Immigration System. And you can get it on Amazon, and you can go to jjcarrell.com.
Gotcha.
I talk about my life in the Border Patrol. I weave stories in to try to have you understand the life of a Border Patrol agent, because you hear Border Patrol and you think, what the hell are those guys doing? I give you a very in-depth view of my life as a Border Patrol agent. And I tell you exactly what is happening today through my stories. It's been very well received. I was actually censored by my own publisher for a little while.
Wow.
So it shows you that it hit a nerve, right? But what's interesting about my book is I finished, all the editing, and it's a process. It's my first book, so I learned quite a bit about the whole process. But this book's only about 3 or 4 months old, like in terms of the data that I used. Everything I wrote about is happening, and it's happening exponentially worse. Like when I was writing it, I'll be honest, there were times, and I worked a different job. I retired from it, but I was working at night, right? 11 o'clock at night. And there were times I would stop and I would reread what I wrote, and I would think, no one's going to believe this shit. Nobody's going to believe it, right?
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah.
And I was like, but it's the truth. Okay, let's go. And I just go. Now it looks tame. The numbers I was using, because I was using current numbers, have exponentially skyrocketed. Let me give you an example. If you talked about it, Jim, special interest aliens, if you just want to go right into it, you want to just go right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. So special interest aliens, so we call them SIAs. So SIAs are individuals that come from nations that harbor terrorism or a terrorist nation like Iran, North Korea, et cetera, et cetera. China's not on that if you believe that.
Amazing.
So what's amazing about special interest aliens, if you go back to data like after 9/11, let's say 2010, we arrested maybe not even 1,000 special interest aliens. Then you go up into Trump's last year, I think it was 2020, the numbers from 2020 or 2019 was 1,970 special interest aliens. Very, very rare. I arrested less than 5 throughout my 24-year career.
It's crazy.
Here comes Biden. So remember, 5 in my 24-year career. Under Biden last year was 25,000. In 2022, 2023, 80,000. 80,000. First month of FY24 was October, almost 4,300. So we're going to double last year's. Now, it's so rare to get a special interest alien. Let me explain the difference between Biden and my last 23 years with Democrat presidents as well. I would arrest, or someone in my station would arrest the SIA. Everything would stop. Everything would stop because I had a potential known terrorist. I would call Joint Terrorism Task Force, JTTF, run by the FBI, would come in and interrogate this subject, interrogate him all day. Then they would come to me and say, JG, it's a terrorist. We got him. Sounds good. Here's the casework. And that guy would disappear like Men in Black. We would never know where they are, right? Whatever they do. And that's fine. If they could not make the connection, meaning Mohammed from Sudan, I can't determine if truly that's that Mohammed that's on the special on the watch list, because it's so convoluted, guys. It's so the Sudan's not helping us determine who this guy is, right?
Right.
So what they would do is they return him back to us. I would then call ICE, set up a transfer. ICE would take him, and they would fly him back to Sudan. Never in a million years would I release that Mohammed onto the streets of America. In fact, just like my mentor and I had this long conversation, and I asked, his name's Joe Ralph, I said, Joe, what would happen if you were my supervisor and you and I decided to release Mohammed? He goes, oh my God, JJ, you and I would be suspended immediately, have our gun or our badge taken away, and then we'd go through all of our appeal process for a year and we'd get fired. Fired! Yeah. What does Biden do? He releases them all onto our streets. Do you understand what I'm saying to you guys?
Yes.
He's released over 100,000 people that have connections to terrorism. Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now? We have thousands of terrorists in America.
Yeah.
This is not, I'm not being dramatic. This is not hyperbolic. I'm telling you that you have hundreds of thousands of special interest aliens and you have thousands of terrorists. Let me give you just an example. I worked my first duty station was Imperial Beach Border Patrol Station. It's the southwesternmost point of the United States of America. Look at a map. It's the Pacific Ocean. The cartels run everything. Nobody crosses unless they pay a fee and they're told when you cross, how many, and what are you going to do when you cross. In Imperial Beach, from the months of April to May of last year, the cartels used my old station as the place to dump thousands of special interest aliens, all single adult males from the continent of Africa and the Middle East.
Wow.
Every single 24-hour period in one station, they were getting hits for 50 terrorists, 50. Every day they had 5 confirmed, and they released the other 45. Why am I telling you this? I'm going to tell you an example of the type of people that are crossing in that area. This is right now 1 month ago. 1 month ago, ISIS main recruiter, top level general type person, crosses the border and squats down, and they arrest him. He just waits for Border Patrol. Top ISIS recruiter. 3 weeks later, a high-level Afghan military Secretary of State type guy crosses the same border, the same place, and sits down in the exact same location. We just released him. We released him. So, and I have a co-host on my podcast that's a highly decorated intel analyst that was embedded with special forces. And he made it I didn't even think of this because this is a specialty, but it should scare you, and it's the truth. He said, JJ, do you know who the last people that you bring onto the battlefield are? I said, I don't know. I'm not in the military. He goes, we bring in our generals. And I was like, oh my God. He goes, those men are generals coming in. And my retort back to him, or my agreement was, okay, when you say that, my first reaction when a head of ISIS recruiter comes in and sits down, he has to know that he's going to be flagged. So what that tells me is multiple people on his level had already crossed the border, been processed and released. And they're calling back and going, hey, you're going to go through a process, but they're going to release you. So all of the audience that's watching right now, I want you to understand and hear me clearly that you have thousands upon thousands of terrorists in your nation, hundreds of thousands of special interest aliens they're going to call up. I know this in the depths of my soul, and I pray to God I'm wrong. I hope I come back, you and I talk 10 years from now and go, hey, thank God I was wrong.
Dodged a bullet. I guess we were wrong. Yeah.
But I'm not.
We would all like to be wrong, but it's
I don't feel that at all, JJ.
Everything that we're seeing, everything that we hear from different people, this is serious. Something is brewing, and your point made. Generals are the last ones on the battlefield that come, and it's like, oh crap, the fact that they kneel down,
that they knew,
I don't care.
That they knew what the process was. They knew what was going to happen under this administration. Was that they were?
Could you imagine being a high-level general in the U.S. Army, and we're fighting in Afghanistan, and you cross the border in Afghanistan and squat down?
Just wait for
the enemy to come get you. Do you see how absurd this all is, guys? You see how this is? Look, I want to hit another point that goes side by side with the terrorist. Is the massive amount of Chinese foreign nationals that are pouring into America. Single adult military age men. Investigative reporters down in Darien Gap in Panama, where they're coming through, they say, hey guys, these Chinese nationals have the same haircut, same tattoos, they're wearing the same clothes, and they all have very unique, similar identifications. Who in our America subset has haircuts, clothes, IDs, and tattoos that are same? They're soldiers. Those are called soldiers. So prior to last year, in 2022, you had less than 2,000 to 2,500 Chinese national arrested. This year, you had over 24,000. 24,000.
This is crazy.
In October, you had over 4,000. So we're going to double the Chinese nationals that we brought in. And they're all released, guys. All of them are released. So you have standing armies in America. You have standing armies of terrorists, and you have hundreds of thousands of special interest aliens. And you think, let me just make this point about special interest aliens. You think that they're going to pick up arms and work side by side and fight with us as we go into a hot war with the Middle East? Have you been watching any of the protests? They're waving Palestinian flags, green ISIS and Hamas flags. They're going to kill you from within. And you know how I know? I always like this, guys, and I'm probably sure you guys the same way. I like this sometimes because I get emotional about it. I'm very vested. I pull myself back and I look at it from a very unemotional. Let me fact check myself. What's happened that I found is you're looking at Mayorkas and Ray giving testimony today. When you go back and listen, they're going to talk about terrorists and special interest alien. I guarantee it.
They are.
6 months ago, I was saying the exact thing I'm saying to you now, and everybody was like rolling their eyes like, oh, God, here he goes. Now, that's not even an argument. They have conceded what I am saying is the truth. Now the only argument is, JJ, I don't think it's that many. Oh, okay. You don't think it's that many? Yeah. Right? And I say this is my rebuttal to this. I say, okay, in the last 2 years, Biden has caught and released 105,000. Let's just make it, for easy math, 100,000. Special interest aliens, all ties to terrorism, released them. Are you okay with me being 99% wrong? Meaning
I know.
There's only 1,000 terrorists? Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
That's if I'm completely wrong. Right?
That's right. That's right. Yep. Good point.
So when you think about it in those terms, you need, as an American, you need to be scared to death because it's happening. And they're finding these men. You just found a guy in Houston, 20 years old, illegal alien from Pakistan, I think it was, got caught with a long arm AR-15, getting ready to go kill as many Jews as he can. Do you guys know that right now, not counting the millions of people Biden and Mayorkas have released fraudulently, do you know that there's over 5 million illegal aliens that have already been through the judicial system, got all their appeals, and the immigration judge found them deportable and ordered them deported, and they have not left America?
Oh, wow.
5 million.
I did not know that.
Yep, that's a fact. Look at, and I say this every time I'm interviewed. I want the audience, if you don't believe me, I encourage you to fact check me on everything.
Right.
My book has footnotes galore. Fact check me, because you're going to find, oh my God, I thought that guy's crazy. He's actually right. This is true. So if you and I come to the agreement that the data that I am spouting is factually true, honest, then we come to this crossroads of, JJ, I don't believe that it's intentional, like they're actually doing this to destroy America. And I go, okay, that's fair. But I want you to explain to me rationally what they're doing.
Exactly.
Why are they doing it? And I swear to you, when I have these conversations, there's this dead air on a podcast is very uncomfortable. And we just sit there and I stare at them. It's like 15, 20 seconds. And they're like, I don't know. And I go, that's the problem. You don't know. And that's okay.
You don't know. Yeah.
But you can't come up with a rational explanation. Therefore, a rational thinking, a critically thinking individual would say, I don't know, but this guy is saying something that sounds true. Well, maybe you should believe that guy, or at least look into what the hell I'm saying.
Exactly.
Look, I'm not making up these numbers. In fact, like in my book, I repeatedly state in my book, these are DHS numbers. I'm not manipulating them. I don't agree with them. In fact, DHS has been caught lying.
Of course.
So they say that we have arrested 8-point-something million and released. They claim 2 million getaways. I know that 2 million, and if you ask any Border Patrol agent, they'll say that 2 million is actually about 10 million getaways.
Yeah.
Right now, as you and I are speaking, right now, any given time on the border, 80% of the border is completely unmanned. Completely unmanned. And you ask me, what's going on? Well, let me tell you, under President Trump before Biden came, do you know how many percentage of the border was unmanned? 0. Were we stretched thin at times? Yes, but it was completely manned.
Right.
So you have, as Mayorkas, you have removed Border Patrol. Mayorkas whistleblowers just came out and testified to Senator Hawley that at any given time, 600 ICE officers and Homeland Security investigators, 600 that are responsible for sex crime trafficking, child trafficking, homicides, narcotics. Do you know they're pulled off of their duties and their casework, sent down the border? You know what they did down the border? They made sandwiches. They helped illegal aliens take showers, and they helped babysit toddlers that were in our custody. And one special agent testified, and I have to paraphrase, I don't have a quote. He said, I was just taken off a case of a child molester, and I was almost done my case, meaning he was just tidying it up before he went and grabbed him. I was then reassigned to the border, and I had to leave that guy. And he goes, this is his words, quote, it haunts me every night knowing that this guy is sexually abusing children in America because I'm making sandwiches on the effing border for illegal aliens.
Wow.
Now, you tell me this isn't purposeful, this isn't strategic, then I tell
100%.
you you're a fool. You're a fool if you don't believe it.
Agreed. Agreed. JJ, this has been amazing. The information and frightening, to be honest with you. We talk about it all the time. We talk about the immigration issues, about the open border, about people pouring in. The getaways, to me, is like, you can give me a number, but they have no freaking clue probably how many are actually gotten away. So when they tell me how many, and you brought it up, when they tell me how many that they've actually caught, we know they've released those. So to me, they're all getaways.
Yes.
Because they've purposely let them get away. We want to go on further. We do. We got a hard stop. We got to hit. So I apologize for that. But I want to end here with this. Again, tell people how they can get a hold of you. What is the podcast? When can they hear it? How do they listen to it? And yeah, please.
Okay, my book is Invaded. You can find it on Amazon or just go to jjcarrell.com. And I have a podcast with my co-host Brian O'Shea called Mostly Peaceful, Unrestricted. You can find it on the dailyclout.io platform, or you just go to Rumble, and it's on Rumble. We push it on there a day later. So we go live on Twitter. So it's good. It has a very good following. I write on Substack as well. That's how you find me. I really appreciate you guys giving me this forum to articulate.
Our pleasure.
No. We want to have you back. We have much more to talk about.
Actually, yeah, because we haven't even, like you said, we haven't scratched the surface.
We haven't scratched the surface of this. The figures.
I would love to come back. You let me know.
If you do not mind, we absolutely want you back soon. So this is going to be an ongoing problem until somehow there's some election that might be real, that we get a change of administrators in there.
It's scary. Joe Biden, he got 81 million votes.
Sure did. 81 million. More than anybody in the history of our nation.
Ever. Because you look at his rallies, they were so well attended, right? I mean, it's amazing. And Trump, my God, Trump has a rally before the election, and there's 60,000 people with 50,000 sitting outside, and he lost. Oh, and God, don't even get me started.
We'll go into that next time.
Even the great one,
touch base on it all. Trust me.
Even the great one, Obama was going out and campaigning for him, and he wasn't getting a bunch of people.
Yeah, even the Messiah wasn't getting a crowd.
Just think of this: Biden got more black votes than the first black president of the United States. Think of that.
Yeah.
Are you telling me? And he's a racist, and everybody knows he's a racist. And he got more black votes than Obama. You have to be a complete moron to believe. And now everybody has now agreed that this has happened. That's crazy.
Yeah. Complete moron. Boy, that's for another show. Cannot wait. Yes. JJ, thank you so much again for your service, for coming on the show, for bringing all of that information. It was incredible, and we are so happy that we now know you, and that our audience now knows you. So until next time, JJ, thank you again.
Yes,
have a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and we'll talk soon. Promise.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, JJ. Honestly, we cannot wait to have him back. We didn't scratch the surface. You heard it there.
Yep.
We didn't even scratch the surface of everything we need to talk about on the border and what's going on.
Fentanyl and sex slaves and trafficking is next. So
it's next. But the real focus was honestly the people that are coming here that because terrorist attacks are going to happen. I mean, it's inevitable at this point now, folks. It's just inevitable, and it's a shame. I don't want to think that way. I don't want it that way. I never felt that way under Trump ever, not at once. And you heard him say the same thing. It was the only time he went from last place to winning the Super Bowl when Trump came in. The only one he thought and felt really gave a shit about him and his guys. You understand, folks? Here's what I was thinking about since the interview is that he every day, he went out there and fought these people and risked his life every single day. Like so many do, like law enforcement, like military, like so many people do, but he did it for the liberals too.
Yep.
He did it for the left. He did it for the progressives. He did it for the Rashida Tlaibs and all the other assholes in Congress that are pro-Palestine and all that. He's doing it for every single American. And the fact that it's even political, the fact that we should not let terrorists and or illegals or drugs or sex traffickers into our nation baffles me to this day. I can't understand it.
And what about the story, folks? How many of you had to worry about going to work? Okay. Yep. Normal. Okay. Mm-hmm. Work. I know there's some people who probably had to do the same thing, but to chasing down someone, but having to worry as you're chasing them down, somebody didn't take barbed wire and stretch it across at head height to decapitate you.
Try to decapitate you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just imagine doing your job, but also have to be on the lookout that you have to be careful.
You could be dead any minute. Every day on that job. Yeah.
Folks, him and his group and people like him, and you know, recently we just lost a border patrol agent, and you don't realize what these individuals go through.
You don't.
You don't realize it. And they take a lot of the blame.
Yep.
And it's not their fault. They can only do so much.
Look, we didn't even get into the fact that, hey, don't Border Patrol agents whip people on the horseback? I mean, you know, that whole bullshit story over the summer and all that. I mean, it's like, it's just incredible. People like him, to me, these are heroes. These are true American heroes. He is one of them.
Yeah, and you didn't hear a story that our people listening right now, you did not. This is not a story that we took off and read from Fox News, Breitbart, MSNBC, CNN. This was from a person who actually experienced it,
lived it every day.
Not a politician who went down
was
there
one
for
of
2
30
days.
out of a group of 2,500. Right. So
Right.
I mean, a senior Border Patrol agent. That's a post that is high up there.
Yeah.
25 years he did it. 25 years. Every single day. It's incredible. He's an incredible human being. His passion is there. You could tell, and it does take a certain person. You could tell he's the right guy for that job. He was the right guy for that job.
Yeah.
It certainly is not for everybody, and we know that. It takes a special kind of person, but I can't wait to have him back. Honestly, I cannot. There's so much more to talk about.
I hope he is like some of the others we have. They're just return people. Keep coming back. And you know, Wayne Black is another one. We want him back as many times as we can. JJ Carrell, we got to well, I'm forgetting some of them right now, but they're all of them.
I mean, there's so many experts, so many people that have actually
Christine.
Yep. There's so many people, and Joe Gohagan that we last week. Even him.
Everything's changing. Everything's always happening. And
and there's always going to be, unfortunately, with this administration and going down this path, and with elections the way they are freely handled in this country.
And I guess one of the last things we can say is to honestly think about what he said about when those 2 high-ranking terrorist individuals came into this country. Just
knelt.
The last people on the field
is the general. So they've caught and released so many terrorists. They know what's happening. The generals, come on in, direct your people. They're going to release you.
And if the story about the Chinese, those individuals, we have, China has a military in our country.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have military in our country.
Yeah.
So combine that with the military of terrorists.
CNN was reporting on the border. Did you see them talking about all the migrants and the women and the children?
Yeah.
And who was behind them? All military-aged men.
Yeah.
Not a single woman, not a single child.
And see, this is where CNN is at fault if anything happens as well.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed, and should be held liable. All of them should.
Because Christine Hutcherson was the first one to tell us about this. JJ Carrell confirmed it by being on site all the time, by working in the border, that majority of these people coming over are not family.
They're not family.
They're single military-aged individuals. That's who's mostly coming.
Exactly.
Look at the caravans.
I know.
Just look at the caravans.
Look who's coming off them. Yep, they send them over the border with children and women who aren't even related to them.
Right.
And pretend to be family and all the other stuff. And next thing you know, they're just released out into the country. You heard it. You know it.
Oh, they're told to be back into their trial.
Oh, 2032. Yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back. So
I should say hearing, not trial. Hearing.
Yeah, hearing. Yeah. Unbelievable. But anyways, JJ, thank you again. Appreciate his time. Cannot wait to have him back.
Thank you for your service. About.
Yeah, he's agreed to come back in early December, so it's not going to be too long before we have him back. So a lot to talk about there, unfortunately, honestly.
Yeah.
I wish we didn't have to bring in experts like this or talk to people like, I'm glad we do, and we're certainly better for doing it, but we shouldn't have to talk about the border crisis like this. You just shouldn't have to. So
this administration has done more to harm and damage the United States in 3 years than Russia and China could have ever envisioned.
Ever thought of. Ever.
I mean, they honestly, guys, just think about how, and I say administration because we all know it's not Biden. I'm sorry.
We all
this
know
is not, There is no way that man is cognitive enough. He's being told what to say when he goes up there. He's being controlled, whether it's by Obama, whether it's by Soros. I don't care. This is meant to be done.
Yeah,
this is on purpose.
And hell, for all we know, Jim, Mayorkas might be in charge of the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, the whole ministry. We don't know.
Could very well
could be according to J.J. Carrell and what
could be Rachel Levine.
It could be Rachel Levine. Rick.
God, I hope not.
God, I hope not. Pete Buttigieg. Anyways, folks, it's a cast of thousands that are controlling.
Just think about
what's happening in this country, and it's scary. Scary.
I mean, the overdose deaths in this country. Pharmaceutical companies are being sued. Pharmacies are being sued because of all the overdoses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they're the ones that are filling the prescriptions.
Yeah.
And they're the ones being sued.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, this makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this makes
sense.
A whole lot of sense.
Total
but we're
sense,
not going to stop the border.
No.
Oh, whoa, but there was a deal between Biden and China.
Oh, I saw that.
To control.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To control the opioid. Yeah. So good job.
Good job. And then Biden just used war funds for what? For his climate policy, for his policy against air conditioners or something. I mean, I don't know.
Well, soon to come. Yeah.
Yeah, soon to come. So it's just unbelievable. But folks, listen, that's J.J. Carrell.
Yep.
You can follow him. He told you how to get a hold of him and all that. That's how you do it. Listen to him podcast. I've listened. It's worth it.
Yeah.
The guy knows his stuff. Absolutely cannot wait to have him back. Jim.
Yep.
I need to say to you, have an amazing Thanksgiving.
Same thing to you and your family.
Thank you. You and yours and your soon to be new daughter-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting things happening there around your household to be thankful for. And there still is a lot to be thankful for, folks, in this nation. There really is.
Even though people are trying to ruin it, we still live in the greatest country.
We still live in the greatest country in the world. And I will never take that for granted. That's for sure. Of course, we got to take action or else we might not be able to, be able to say it. And I mean that literally, because nobody will hear us say it because we'll be shut down and our voices will be silenced. Mm-hmm. Right. So,
and there is a chance that our show will be delayed after the holiday season.
That what?
Our show will be delayed after the holiday season.
You think? Why?
My brother's not going to be here for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to deep fry the turkeys. So just in case.
Have you never deep fried a turkey before?
Never. I've watched it done. I've never.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
Now my nephew's going to be here too.
That's the only way we do it, huh?
My brother's son. My nephew's going to be here to help me, so I'm not too worried about it. But it's me.
Are you going to be?
I trip on my own 2 feet sometimes. You've been around me.
I know. I've been there. You're not going to be disfigured or anything, are you?
I don't know, but you talking about something that has 3 gallons of 450-degree oil.
And you. So combine the two.
And me.
Combine the two, and it's a recipe for a disaster. That's
we shall see. We shall see.
Be careful. We also deep fry. Been doing it for years. It's easy peasy.
And it is so good.
Yeah. So good. It's the best way, I think.
I never thought I would ever, but
me neither. But then who didn't think deep frying anything would be great?
Well, I mean, somebody deep fried a Twinkie. I mean, come on,
and an Oreo and all that. I mean, come on.
Twinkies, wonderful, delicious dessert. Let's deep fry it and make it even more delicious.
Made it better.
Now your heart stops, but hey,
whatever. It's going to stop eventually of something. Might as well be a deep fried Twinkie, brother.
And you're going to die happy.
Jim, good luck with your upcoming dominatrix classes.
Yep,
I hope that goes well for you. Thank you.
I think for a live show, we need to go to one of these.
I think so. I wonder if they let us film while we're there. Good. Google it, Jim.
I'm willing to have you participate as the
submissive one.
As getting the I'm willing to do that to videotape it for the show. I'm willing
to not do that part for the show. I mean,
what if she's really cute?
It doesn't. Is pain? Does it matter? Pain
I could have your wife do it. That'd be funnier than hell.
Oh God, the pain that would be inflicted there.
She would beat the shit out of you.
She'd use the 450-degree oil. There'd be no time to scream a safe word.
It would be no different than roles reverse if my wife was doing it.
Yeah, I mean, they'd love it.
I probably wouldn't be able to sit down for a month.
Ouch. You ever see the show Billions, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay, Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
And his wife. Okay, if nobody's
even
saying
though
it.
Even though I don't like him.
Ooh.
Paul Giamatti.
Why don't you like him? I mean,
what's his last name?
Giamatti. Okay.
What did Giamatti do to a certain player that I enjoy? And
I don't even know, Jim.
Bart Giamatti's his dad.
Oh, I know Bart Giamatti. Yeah. Sorry, dude.
No, granted, he did gamble, but still,
it's not. He did gamble, but it's not. It's not the same. Are they related by any chance? They are, aren't they?
Huh? Father son, I believe.
Father son, right? I thought so. Now that's correct.
Any movie he's in, I hate.
Oh no, he's a great actor. Screaming liberal.
Used to be.
Actor. Used to be. Well, before Pete Rose. I mean, like,
no, until I found out they were related.
Oh, gotcha. Nobody cares anymore, Jim. We're out of here.
I hold grudges.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I hold grudges. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our fans
all of our
friends out there, and please have
friends,
a safe
family, listeners,
and happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will see you back the following week. More interviews, more us. Until then, Jim, I will talk to you soon, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim. Remember, you can watch on YouTube and Rumble and listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps others find us when searching for podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Just search for Two Guys, One Coup. That's the number 2, guys, and the number 1, Coup, C-O-U-P. Thanks again for listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast, and God bless the United States of America.